Harrison Price for Friday, January 30th, 2026. We're a presentation of Bet365. Matt Sekeres alongside Blake Price coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Mike Rogerson is hitting switches and conducting things, and we've been working with Mike for about 18 months now, and on Wednesday, I think we saw him get angry with us for the first time.
Really?
Just before show start, remember he kicked us in the tail, like, where's that energy?
Really? I don't remember that. I don't listen to Mike much.
48 hours ago. Tuesday, we had a very high-energy show. We were listening to some music in here before the show went live. Having fun with it, including some INXS. And on Wednesday, just before the show started, he noticed we were languishing a little bit. He's like, where's that INXS energy? Although not quite in that tone.
We didn't need that today.
So trying to bring the energy.
We had high energy today. We were good.
You think good energy today?
We were good. It's Friday.
Yeah.
You're heading on vacation.
I am.
Should be high energy.
Very high energy.
You gotta run through
Pep in the step.
The finish line, right? You always got to run through the finish line.
That's right.
To the ribbon.
Yeah. Through the ribbon.
Yes.
You're not quitting here today.
No.
Knowing what's coming up tomorrow. Canucks not quitting either.
No.
I was sitting there going, they got to get tonight. Because I don't think, although the Leafs are horrible, but I'm not sure they're going to get tomorrow. And I'm sitting there going, they can't just win 1 of 8 at home. Can they?
That would be bad.
Can you really have an 8-game homestand coming off an 11-game losing streak and just win 1 of them?
Now,
they got their second victory last night.
They did also get some help by the fact that, the Ducks were without 3 of their top scorers.
Yep.
But let's not drill down too hard.
I don't know what to make of it. Like, do you think Anaheim is sneaky dangerous this year, or do you think it's just too early?
This is their learning year. Yeah. All right. The Buffalo Sabres could be sneaky dangerous.
That is a team that I'm with you could be sneaky dangerous, in part because I just don't view the top of the East as good as the top of the West.
And they're not as young. Like all their young players have now blossomed and are prime players. Ducks are just playing young. Beckett Seneca, 43 points of the season. Are you serious?
And I was watching him last night and thinking to myself, think of when he fills out a little, because he's still such a beanpole.
Yeah.
Like when he's got a little bit more man strength to be able to play in the guts of the ice, in the low slot, the tough areas. I mean, Corrado was telling us Wednesday, my big struggle was I'm just not naturally strong, and I wasn't able to always hold up in those pure strength battles when you got guys leaning on you, guys trying to turn the corner on you. When Seneca develops that man strength, wow, he's going to be a player.
I forgot that he was drafted that high.
Yeah.
That's
and it was like 48 hours before the draft. I think it was Saravelli said Anaheim's going to take Seneca, and people are like, whoa, where's this coming from? Because a lot of the public lists had him down around top 10, but not number 3, right?
Number 3.
Yeah. As I recall, a pretty good draft. Who went right after him?
Cade Lindstrom went after him. That was a no-answer. But Demidov was 5. But Levshunov at 2 has been pretty, not often are defensemen dropping in and being decent. Levshunov's done okay.
Yep, absolutely. Let's get to our daily poll question brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Do you want to see Nikita Tolopilo get some run? You can vote yes, you can vote no. Do so at the Sekeres and Price X and YouTube channels. Gets his first win last night since first week of December. In the past 2 games against the Sharks and Ducks, Tolopilo stopped 57 of 59 shots. And it was only power play goals that beat him.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, of course, he does this after having to miss some time and get evaluated by the concussion spotters when Ryan Peeling runs him over. More on that in a moment. My answer is a firm yes here. We talked to Kevin Woodley, Tuesday this week? And one of the things that Kevin said was, hey, it's time to figure out who Nikita Tolopilo is. It's time for the deep end of the pool. You know what Lankin it is. You know what Lankin it isn't. Is it possible that Kevin Lankinen could change the stripes at this stage of the game? I suppose so. But I think what you're looking at is a very good backup or a co-starter. And so the question becomes, if Thatcher Demko is unavailable, as he is now, as he has been, if you can't count on him going forward, who is the Canucks goaltender of the future, or who is in line to make starts? We've mentioned the candidates: Nikita Tolopilo, Ty Young, Aku Koskinvo, and ultimately, of course, Alexei Medvedev, who's already signed but still playing junior hockey. You need one of those 4 guys to pop. Time to see if Nikita Tolopilo can hold up, and particularly because I don't think they're all going to be like last night. And, of course, he got his douse of it on Tuesday when it became a shooting gallery. So, yeah, let's see how he's going to do, and I think he's going to be busy in the starts he does.
What does get some run mean to you? What's your definition of
Get a series of starts as though you're the number 1 goaltender.
In a row.
Consecutive, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like so 3 of 4, something like, 5 of 6.
So I'll say no. I don't see a need for that. What I do want to see is him get more playing time. I think.
Sorry, why wouldn't you?
I just don't think you need to overtax him and make him feel like he has to carry the load.
So, but when are you going to try that out then? That's part of the evolution and the grooming process, right, of a starter.
Maybe next year. But this year, 50-50 the rest of the way. Have them share the load. Kevin Lankinen has always done better sharing the load. So go 50-50. But there's no point in putting the pressure of the kid and make him feel like he has to be a starter. That will make him feel like he has to be a starter. And he doesn't need that much game time either. He's still going to play 2-3 times a week.
In Shilov's case, he struggled when he was not playing enough. Why not? What's the argument for starting Kevin Lankinen half the time the rest of the way here?
Preserving his value and his game, and keeping open all avenues there. If you stop playing the guy you just signed, you're not helping yourself there at all. If there's any hope to get out from underneath the contract, you will be killing that. If there's any hope of having him be the starter next year, because you do need a starter potentially next year if Thatcher Demko doesn't come back, then you want to make sure that player continues to be the best player that he can be. I think if you just commit to Tolopilo being the starter here, you're kind of killing Kevin Lankinen a little bit. So I just don't think there's enough games to go around. This is a compressed schedule. You don't need to run this guy out in 5 straight games.
Okay. Do you agree that he is more likely to be the goaltender of the future for the Vancouver Canucks than Kevin Lankinen?
No, I think that's premature. I think he's a candidate. I'm not saying he's not a candidate. He is a candidate, but more likely, no. The guy that has played more NHL games and has shown the ability to be a capable National Hockey League goaltender, no, there's a better resume. There's more empirical evidence to say that Kevin Lankinen will serve out the remainder of his contract than Tolopilo, who's played 3.
But Tolopilo is more likely to be, if not the starter, co-starter, or one of the 2 goaltenders when they're competitive again? Is that also a no?
Likely? No. Are you hoping that? Yes. Kevin Lankinen, I don't think has the elite game to be the guy for a team that is contending. Of that, I can agree. But it is still not more likely that Tolopilo, after 10 NHL games, is going to be that guy either.
Okay.
We're coming off a shutout, a lot of goodwill for him. I get it. But his save percentage in those 10 games is still .900, and he's got a .500 record. So it's not like this is a shooting star. Saddle up, let's ride Nikita Tolopilo into the sunset. That's premature. I'm just trying to keep everybody's feet on the ground here.
Okay.
That's all.
Mike, break the tie here.
Not a Lankinen fan, so I'm
You're hoping,
but I think the worst case scenario is Tolopilo. You find out he's not a very good goalie, in which case you are still last.
Right.
Oh, I don't think anybody's saying you can't do this because you'll lose less. Like, that's not the... Lankinen's numbers are not great this year either. Guys, the Canucks are finished. The Canucks are finishing 32nd. Exhale. Don't worry about it.
Well, unless they get a run of goaltending from Nikita Tolopilo.
Well, exactly. Like, what are you hoping for here? What are you hoping for here?
If he gets too good, then you got to sit him down.
I see.
Then you got to sit him down. Preserve the tank. Tank is paramount. Developing your future number one goaltender. That's like
him playing 50% of the games from here on in is developing your goalie.
Fair. But, I mean, I defined it so itty-bitty, like 3 or 4 or 5 of 6, and you shot that down. You're like, no.
3? If he's effectively started 3 in a row if he plays tomorrow.
Kind of.
So, sure, that's fine. But generally speaking, no. It should be 50-50. Don't need to see what he looks like starting 8 of the next 9. Don't need to see that.
Do you order your lattes extra hot?
I don't order lattes. Too much dairy.
Do you have a like super specific, annoying, yuppie Starbucks order?
Matt, you again.
Sometimes he calls me by his son's name when I truly annoy him. It's amazing.
You know my Starbucks order.
First time it happened, I just roared. Now I just take it in stride.
What is my Starbucks order?
I used to. I don't remember.
It's coffee.
Black. Just black. That's right.
It is the simplest of orders. It's coffee. It's black. That's it.
All right, now that we got under Dad's skin, let's hear about Dad's beer.
And now after this conversation,
this week he's got 4 kids at home. He's got 1 in the studio.
I need one of these. I absolutely need one of these. The Chase My Tail Pale Ale, and I know that I have them on my back patio. I know they are waiting for me today.
Unless Max drank them.
He's getting back this evening. I have to beat him home.
You've got to beat him.
Yellow Dog Brewing's Cornerstone Beer, the Chase My Tail, balanced, highly drinkable adult beverage that dreams are made of. This brew pours rich, burnt orange in color, mouth-watering hoppy aroma hits you right before that first sip. Citrus, grapefruit tickling the tongue a little bit, the fir malt backbone. The thirst-quenching pale ale will have you running in circles. The Chase My Tail Pale Ale. Yeah.
They're just back here on the back shelf.
That's the break glass in case of emergency stash. Do not touch.
Our top story brought to you by Pacific Blue Cross. 48 hours after looking like they've never played defense in their life, the Vancouver Canucks pitched a shutout, a team shutout at that, versus Anaheim.
Everybody
in a
got involved.
2-0 win at Rogers Arena. Just the 4th team shutout in Vancouver Canucks history, as the aforementioned Tolopilo and Lankinen share honors thanks to the NHL's concussion spotter. Tolopilo misses the first 2:11 of the second period while undergoing testing for a concussion. Lankinen is required to take the cage, marking the second straight game where the Canucks have had to play 2 goaltenders. We foreshadowed that yesterday, going, well, we hope he finishes the game. Let's hope he plays the whole game. No, didn't play the whole game. So that 2 minutes and 11 seconds prevents the big Belarusian from earning his first career NHL shutout after making 32 stops. Let's hear from Tolopilo.
I don't know, not really, just feel good overall, I think kind of play my game, play my structure and try to play simple, not overdoing some things, so I think, just kind of keep following my game plan. Yeah.
Can we buck up a little bit, Belarus? Like, holy shit. It's your first NHL shutout, man.
You wanted him to be more excited.
Well, I wanted to be a little like 2 weeks in a row. We've talked to Frank Corrado about what it's like being in the room on a rebuilding team because that was his lot in life with the Leafs. And he talked about how much it sucked. But he's also mentioned 2 weeks in a row, it's nice to come into a post-game dressing room and have some music playing. Be upbeat, right?
Yeah.
Because as Brad Pitt and Moneyball taught us, it's the sound of losing.
That's true.
Silence. So I'm thinking, oh, man, this should be a joyous Canucks room. You got a win. You got a shutout. You got a shutout after looking as ghastly as you've looked defensively all year. It's for a rookie goaltender. Okay, maybe it's not his individually because of the 2 minutes and 11 seconds, but everyone should be rallying around him. And then he comes out like, it sounds like Eeyore. And I realize it's a second language, but I thought there would be some.
Well, they actually released a video of the axe ceremony that they've got.
Yeah.
Was it Lankinen that handed it to him? And even that, which was behind closed doors, was pretty muted.
Here's what I do know. Nikita, if you have the axe right now, you may be holding it for a while.
Yeah.
In fact,
they're going to be like,
you get through the next 3 games,
axe, guys?
You have the axe for the next month plus. Make sure it's safely kept.
Yeah. Remember where you put it.
Exactly.
It might be there for a while.
Don't bring it on vacation. So the Canucks beat the Ducks for the second time this season. They beat them 5-4 in Anaheim on the 26th of November. They have beaten two clubs twice this year. They swept the season series with Washington. A second shutout of the season. Demko had one at the Rangers on the 16th of December. Jake DeBrusk with the setup of Drew O'Connor's goal, the game's first goal, and a game-high 6 shots on the night, this during his 600th NHL game. And O'Connor is up to 13 goals, which ties him for second on the club with DeBrusk and Elias Pettersson. Blake, they're all still 4 goals behind Kiefer Sherwood, who was hurt, didn't add to his total, has since been traded, and is likely to go in the Olympic break as the Canucks' leading goal scorer.
Yeah. It's and Quinn Hughes, of course, would be leading everybody in points if he were still here. So it's that kind of a season. I see some people in the chat are going, yes, but the Anaheim was missing all this. And that's true. They were. So they were easier to beat tonight than they will be in 3-4 weeks' time. But this is a Canucks team that doesn't have Sherwood anymore, doesn't have Quinn Hughes anymore, and has had everybody else traded as well in recent months. So, I mean, it's – I don't think the Canucks are going to say, hey, but we were loaded and they weren't. No Brock Besser in the lineup. Like,
honestly,
come on.
With the way this compressed schedule is going, virtually every team has frontline players missing.
Every team.
You know, you are seeing very few games right now where everyone is fully healthy. There was a line I saw coming out of Toronto yesterday amidst that would-be scandal of releasing someone in the sports science department about that. It's just unfathomable, unrealistic to anticipate you're going to have many guys, if any guy, play 82 this year with the compressed schedule.
I mean,
I think you're going to see guys leading teams, Blake, with like 79, 80 games played. Like nobody plays the full 82
and
this year.
Compressed schedules, the potential for compressed schedules are going to be there now every other year. Like because you're either going to have the World Cup or the Olympics. Mm-hmm. So they've got to figure this out. And we've talked about this before, but they've got to back up the season, not 1 week, like
they are,
2 weeks.
They are
2 weeks. They can't do this
really
anymore.
They should be centralizing not Labor Day Monday, but the week after. Because the second Monday in September.
Remember, they are moving it back, Matt, but they're also adding 2 more games to the regular season.
Which is stupid.
So that wipes out. That wipes out. If you go a week back, you're really in the same spot because you got
just
84 games.
Off 2 preseason games, for heaven's sakes.
Well, they have done that too, but
they're doing so big, like the NFL to add the regular season.
Add to the regular.
Just play 82.
82 with
It's
four,
fine.
yes,
It's
with
fine.
4 preseason games. That's what it should be. It's preposterous.
It is.
Or as others have said, you want to add more games to the whole overall schedule? Do a play-in.
And here's the other thing. Do what the NBA does. Start the next round of the playoffs on a fixed date. Enough of these like long breaks between playoff rounds. The NBA will start game 1 of the second round on the same day that you've got game 7 of the first round. Guess what? We're moving on.
Yeah.
None of these 5-day breaks before the Stanley Cup final.
They want the Stanley Cup leading into the draft,
and
though.
Honestly,
they do.
Blake, I would love if round 1 every year, the first 2 games in the same building, back-to-back nights.
Really get her going.
Get her going. And we're right back here again tomorrow night, with game 2 of...
And if they weren't so taxed in the regular season, I would agree with that. But the players after an 82-game season in a compressed schedule would be like, "What the F are you asking me to do?"
You play game 1, you have 2 days off before game 2.
Yeah,
in the same city.
Yeah.
Now sometimes it's building
that's
availability.
That's usually building. Yeah.
Anyways, DeBrusk was cheery, talking about nice to get that winning feeling back. Here's Jake.
Yeah, it's nice to see. Obviously, Tolo was great in net. But I think that we, try to do what, we've kind of been struggling at lately, and taking care of the front of our net and things like that. But and saying that Tolo made some big saves at the right times, and got to give credit where it's due.
More on DeBrusk here in a moment, but he's playing quite well. So is Teddy Bluger. He scores into an empty net. It's technically a shorty because they have a man in the box. More on him in a second. Helper from Roenick. Both have been productive. D. Petey last night, a 55% plus Corsi 4. He's playing with Roenick. And he took care of some business with Owen Zellweger behind the Canucks crease late. Here's the head coach, Adam Foote, on D. Petey's game, and he liked it. He liked it a lot.
That was his best game of the year. I felt like he was not just getting the puck and moving it quick. If he had time and space, he'd take 4 or 5 extra strides, let his forwards get in their lanes and get going, and he made good decisions. And he's strong, he's physical. I think this game will help him grow a lot.
I hope so, Coach, because it has been an awful season for a guy we all had high hopes for. And look, it took 54, but he finally played his best game of the year.
I feel like he's at his worst when making decisions on pinching and handling that puck and moving it too quickly. As Foote talked about there, he took that one quick beat. Not that you can't linger on the puck, but he took just an extra beat to make a better decision. And that's what was his plus last year, was a poise. We're not talking Nick Lidstrom poise, but he had a level of poise that surprised us last year. And the physicality. Just concentrate on that. Don't feel like you need to be sliding down the wall and pinching and being an up-and-coming Quinn Hughes here. It's not you. Just do that.
You know what I want to see going forward here? From Coach Foote and the staff. And it's not official because it doesn't divide squarely into 3, but 54 games, you're 2/3 of the way through the season, right? 27 gets you 81. So you're effectively into the final third of your season. And we noticed this off the top of the year, Blake, and we haven't talked maybe as much about it as I thought we might. Back off Philip Roenick's minutes here a little bit. He's playing a ton of minutes, Philip. You're almost using him like you were using Quinn Hughes. And I understand he's your best player by a mile, and so you want to play him. He played 27 minutes last night. If, in fact, Phil Roenick is a building block for your rebuild, retool, whatever you're going to wind up doing, save him some miles here. Because the one thing I've been a little bit disappointed with, and look, I think in D. Petey's case, it's probably earned, and so I understand it a little more. In Vylander's case, I think it's a little more kid gloves. Verlander's played 15 minutes a night. DPD's playing 14 minutes a night. Let's play the kids more here on defense. Let's play the two young Swedes more here on defense. If you want to wear Marcus Pettersson's ass out, I got no problem with that. But Phil Hronek should be backed off a little bit. Maybe this happens with the Tyler Myers trade, Blake, if in fact Tyler Myers is going to get moved here in season where he's got the no move and can pick his destination as opposed to this summer. But I want to see the two young Swedish defensemen play more in the final third.
This is the problem with coaches. They want to win the game. You know, they understand the big picture. It's not like they don't intellectually understand the big picture. They do, but when they're in the heat of the battle, when they're in a one-goal game, they want to make sure it's kept close or the lead's extended, and Philip Hronek is their best way to do it, and he cannot help himself.
Okay.
Now, anything more than that, a 2-goal lead or a 2-goal deficit, that should be your instigator.
Absolutely. Okay, now we have to talk about Conor Garland. I'm sorry.
You're forgiven.
1 goal in 23 games. None in the last 16. 23 games is more than a quarter of a season.
That's a long time. If he started the year 0 for 23, you would be
pointless
raving mad.
in 12. Now look, there was an injury they came back from, fair enough. Takes an absolutely stupid penalty last night, late, with Anaheim down a goal, 1 goal, late, and you're headed to the bench.
Final minute.
Like, as dumb a penalty as you can take.
Now,
slashing a guy's stick out of his hands. They're going to call it every time.
We've heard this from countless people, Matt. If you are dinged in any way, shape, or form, the player should not be in the lineup.
Yeah.
Like, rest him. Or rest him for the purposes of trading him at the very least.
So you hit on a good point here. Veterans with whatever, it should be Operation Shutdown.
Yeah.
Garland looks like he's engaged in a self-appointed Operation Shutdown. Is he pouting his way off the team like Hughes did, like Sherwood did to a lesser degree?
When's the last time you saw him
Is he snowflaking because his buddy isn't here anymore, is in Minnesota?
When's the last time you saw him crouch down doing his garden gnome at the side post with his stick, shortened up to doing anything he can to
going
score
through
a goal.
the motions right now. And it shouldn't be injury related because, as Blake notes, if there is any, he shouldn't be playing. Dollywall's connected him to Minnesota, of course, Quinn. Dreger, Pinota, Marek, they've all told us they're simply not going to just peel him for picks. As we've said before, the rebuild really pivots on him. If you're serious about it, you're making a Conor Garland trade. If you're hoping to retool, you're keeping him. 30 years old next year, 6x6, full no-move clause, so last chance to trade him between now and July 1st. And then look at this from Hamalytics, Blake. Everything is down with Conor Garland. Everything. His 5-on-5 points per 60 at 1.07. He's more than doubled up that count several times in his career, including times with the Vancouver Canucks. His 5-on-5 points per 82 games. Look at that. It's less than 20. It's appalling.
Considering he's been at 50 and 40. Unbelievable.
And then there's the speed bursts. They're down 2. I mean, not that straight line speed is something that is part of his game, but
it's indicative of something. Again, when all these stats...
These metrics were looking bad on Elias early on when he started to make his way down there.
Yeah, when all these stats conspire against you, it points to something. Again, it could be injury. But if that's the case, shut him down. Because there is a case to be made here, Matt. It's only January 30th. Give him, when do they come back playing their first game? 24th after the Olympics? Something like that? 25th? You give the guy almost a month off if he's injured right now.
Yep.
And then you play him in a few games just to tell everybody who you could be trading with, look, he's good, ready to roll now, and you can still make a deal with him before the trade deadline.
25th home to Winnipeg.
25th.
Anyways, he's sewering his trade value, or at least he's hindering it. There should be a good Conor Garland trade to make for a rebuilding team. But he's not really doing his part to hold the value here.
If he's injured, you can get 4 games under his belt before the deadline. Seems like more than enough. But he's, maybe, Matt, he's not injured. And maybe this is just, again, he's a 40 to 50 point guy. He's playing like a 40-point guy right now. Maybe this is
the last
just
quarter
him.
of the season, he's playing like a nothing. He's playing like a, sorry, son, that's not enough production to remain in the NHL.
Well, when you consider what guys like Linus Karlsson
he's
and
looking like Brendan
Drew
Gaunce
O'Connor,
the last quarter of the season.
just put on waivers, Brendan Gaunce. Pacific Blue Cross wants to send you out on the road because if you're going to watch the Canucks, you might as well do it on vacation somewhere. Get Pacific Blue Cross travel insurance working for you. You get your chance to see the Canucks on the road, complete with flights, hotel, lower bowl tickets, and more. No purchase necessary. Contest ends February 28th. Enter now at pacificbluecross.ca/Canucks.
Time now for Crave the Stats, brought to you by Uber Eats. And today we look at Jake DeBrusk. As mentioned, he's on a bit of a heater here, but it's a heater with a twist because we're used to him being a streaky player, and this one's, it's a little different.
2 multi-assist games in his last 5. This guy is often a Cy Young candidate.
That's
here.
it.
And he's 1 and 5 in his last 5 games. 6 points, better than a point per game.
And here's what I love about it, Blake. We had the conversation a few weeks ago about, okay, if you're in a rebuild, where does Jake DeBrusk fit in? And we both thought, boy, he's a tougher one than some of the others. Like, for me, he's a much tougher one than Garland, in part because he's younger. And I just think a more inclined offensive player. The streakiness with the goal scoring drives you crazy. And don't get me wrong, if you get the right offer for DeBrusk, you got to move him. But I was inclined to keep him through the whatever you're going through.
Also cheaper.
Yeah. But I'm inclined to keep him because, well, you need goals, and there is a world where he actually could still be a good player when you're competitive again. And yes, the contract, the age, he's got a no move, so you're only dealing with a handful of teams, maybe one team, so the value may not be there. If he can actually be a contributor offensively outside of putting pucks in the net, as a setup guy, then I think that's another feather in the DeBrusk cap in terms of that's a guy you want to keep around through the fallow period.
No negative games there either. He's a +3 in that 5 games.
Which is really hard to
negative
deal.
games.
On
this team,
oh my God.
Again, you don't bring that up unless on this team, how is he not a negative? Let's bring up the overall team scoring, though, too, because he's now 3rd in team points, Matt. And Roenick being a defenseman, it's just harder for a defenseman to keep pace sometimes. And remember, second halves have not been his hallmark, Philip Roenick. And, of course, Elias Pettersson has slowed down considerably here of late. I mean, if DeBrusk can get hot, there is a world in which Jake DeBrusk could finish the season as the leading point getter. And it'll be a low number. No one's expecting historic highs for the team points leader this year, but he's 3rd now. He could be the points leader by the end of the season.
Yep. I think that's right. Game day tomorrow and an early one, 4 p.m. start against the Leafs.
That's right. It's during dinner. You couldn't possibly juggle making dinner and watching the game responsibly. And again, tomorrow's game is a responsible watch because you do get the schadenfreude of watching the Leafs fall.
This is the one you want to win. We noted this at the beginning of the 8-game homestand.
Yeah.
And
you feel no guilt here.
Honestly, this is the Canucks Super Bowl.
Yeah, it might be.
A chance to bury the Leafs.
Anything else?
Oh, this is the one your fans need you to get.
The season finale is on the road in Edmonton. That could be fun too.
Right.
But that's it.
Your fans want 2 more the rest of the year, and you can lose the other 26.
That's pretty much it. So
get tomorrow.
stay away from the stove, stay in front of the TV, get Uber Eats working for you. They're assisting hockey fans all season long, and you get bang for the buck, of course, for those game day deals on the app. Download it today, Uber Eats.
Update from practice where Adam Foote says Brock Besser is going to come on the road trip. Of course,
it's the mom's trip.
Suffered the concussion. Yes, it's the mom's trip. Also says Teddy Bluger was absent today, just a rest day. Philip Roenick is under the weather. We know the some sort of illness has been going around the room.
He said Besser's not likely to play. He's just going to be with the moms.
Yeah. Liam Ogren, pointless in 14 of his last 16, but developing elsewhere. He took penalty killing shift last night. Tyson Cole asked Adam Foote, Tyson Cole of Canucks Army and RinkWide, asked him about what he's seeing in Ogren's defensive game. I wanted to get back to Ogren because we mentioned yesterday, we just haven't talked about him a lot. He isn't scoring. Okay, but we want to track his
I do like the way he moves, though.
Yeah.
Disappointing he hasn't been able to put a few more points.
No, I know.
Just like if he had 2 or 3 more points in this stretch, I'd be way more encouraged.
And I love what Foote says. He's a sponge. I still have high hopes for Liam Ogren. And if he can add penalty killing to the arsenal, even better. We got a super chat yesterday from a listener viewer named, would be a viewer on YouTube, Colin Whitehead. Old habits die hard. Thank you to Colin. Those of you on YouTube, that super chat button is always available to you. Hit it, make your donation. Partial proceeds to the BC Mental Health Foundation, and we promise we will get it on the program. If not that day, then subsequent day. Colin asked, do you guys agree our top line should be Petey, Lekramacky, and Ogren, speaking of Liam? Here's what I'll say, Colin. I don't 100% agree. I do 100% agree that Lekramacky has to play in the top 6 and with an offensively inclined center. And right now, that's Elias Pettersson. There's no sense handcuffing Lekramacky with bottom 6 style players. He's got to play with other guys who are offensively inclined, comfortable on the puck, and most importantly, can feed him the puck because we know how good a shooter he is.
It's a little too flimsy, that line for me. I think it'd be fun. I'd like to see it tried, but I doubt they would stick with that. But I
don't want Besser, of course, on the other side. We know that past Besser and Petey together.
But until Kane's traded, Kane, Petey, and Lekramacky might be interesting.
And that's right. And that was the other thing I was going to say, Colin. Later in the season, after more vets get moved out, because let's face it, I think Evander Kane's being moved out. I think Teddy Bluger is being moved out. Who knows? David Kampf. There may be others. I am completely open-minded to any and all combinations.
O'Connor, Petey, Lekramacky? Some people have the theory that you can't play Petey with fast players because he won't be able to keep up. Him as the trailer, have O'Connor lug the puck up, and you've got
pace. Get him playing with pace.
Yeah,
he'll chase. Used to always say about Burrows. He got the Twins playing with pace.
Yeah, I disagree with the theory that you can't play fast players with Petey. No, he's a dangerous trailer. Those guys lug it up and they drop it to him.
The only thing I'll say about O'Connor is Elias has to create for both of them at that point because O'Connor is
well, for sure.
But
then you got a board battle guy, and
it's worth a shot. Yeah. There are going to be so many different line combinations and even defense pairings, perhaps, although less so, that are going to be worth shots going forward here as they play out the string, the final third of the schedule. Okay, I wanted to get to this, Mike. I sent you something there in the chat box. If you can bring that up. Because we lost a Canadian icon, a Canadian treasure today in actress and comedian Catherine O'Hara.
You almost feel like you know her. You almost feel like you know her.
Completely. And I wanted this one specifically because it's a fantastic quote from Catherine to Rolling Stone magazine about why Canadians have made it so big in comedy.
Yes, yeah.
And it's been said many times, it's the perfect looking glass down on the world's superpower, and of course with the ancestral history of Britain in that comedy culture.
Yes.
But where she says, I think the Canadians not only have a sense of humor about others, but also about themselves, which I think is 100% spot on. And the healthiest and the best kind of humor to have. And God knows we need some humor around these parts these days.
Yeah, it's true. There's not a lot of, and there's a lot of comics that are mean comics that get their
insult comment. Like I watch some of the Kill Tony stuff, and some of it is very, very funny. Like I find myself laughing. Nikki Glazer too, and some of the roast thing. I find that funny as well. But for me, the degree of difficulty on that stuff is a little less than
totally.
Right.
Intelligent, fun comedy is more difficult to get right.
And who has done intelligent, fun comedy better than Canadians over the years? I mean, they're the entire. I'm sure there are some Americans, but go down whether it's SNL and sketch comedy, or whether it's comedic films, and count up the number of Canadians who have starred in those movies and on that stage over the years.
Her and John Candy reunited up there in heaven, and they're creating some good comedy right now.
And the other thing, and I was looking at this, like reading some of the American obituaries, Schitt's Creek is right up there in the lead paragraph or the second paragraph alongside Beetlejuice and Home Alone, which of course were huge motion pictures. Schitt's Creek still astonishes me. Like when I first started seeing the billboards at bus shelters here in Vancouver, I was like, I can't believe Eugene Levy got away with that. And then I realized, it's his son who's putting the show together.
I thought it was Canadiana. I didn't watch it till way later.
I thought it was. I thought it was
CanCon slop.
I thought, Eugene and Catherine are coming back to Canada to finish off their career because they're not getting gigs in the States. And I thought it's sad.
Yeah.
And then Carmen started watching it, and I'm like, holy shit, is the writing here spot on, and is the acting spot on, and particularly O'Hara and the Moira character, which is now and of course, eventually the U.S. caught up, and then she got an Emmy for it. We bring her up, not just because she's a Canadian treasure, but some of you may remember the 2010 closing ceremonies to the Vancouver Whistler Olympics. Now, the opening ceremonies, of course, which tend to get more shine anyways.
And we had our infamy there.
Were marred by the fact that one of the arms, one of the spires on the cauldron would not lift up out of the floor. And, of course, this is all being directed by OBS, Olympic Broadcast Services, and you get that awkward shot of Steve Nash holding his torch, gritting his teeth, where it's now plain as day. Something is going wrong here.
That thing was—they rehearsed that 100 times.
I went to the rehearsal. It was
didn't come up. Needed Viagra.
Right. So fast forward 16 days, and of course a magical 16 days.
Also the pickup truck too.
Well, Gretzky in the pickup truck to come down to Jack Pools, which was, okay. Fast forward 16 days, and a magical 16 days, because, of course, Canada wins the gold rush, wins all those gold medals, culminated with the men's hockey gold. And now you're going over the closing ceremonies at BC Place. And because of the way the opening ceremonies go down, now you're changing the closing ceremonies a little bit, because it's the elephant in the room. And, of course, we're Canadians. The quote O'Hara just said, we've got to poke ourselves in the eye a little bit, right? So you remember you have the guy with the toque and the rope, and he's manually pulling the spire that wouldn't come out of the floor. And then where do you go after that? You go to Catherine O'Hara, who knocks it out of the park with a bit of self-deprecating, the monologue, poking fun at Canadians, our peccadillos, our idiosyncrasies, some of the stereotypes that the world has about us. And Blake, like, applause from coast to coast. Who's the right person to do that, despite this great pantheon of Canadian comedians? You're damn right, it's Catherine O'Hara. So very, very sad, because brief illness, I read.
Yes. Only
young,
71.
Yeah. Really, really
I read about,
sad day for Canadian entertainment, to be sure.
I read about Moira Rose's character, and everybody was always wondering, what's the accent that she's affecting?
It's the Catherine O'Hara accent.
And she said, I just made it up.
That's right.
She wanted to sound as pretentious as possible, and she just made it up.
The elongated trailing off syllables. Just
so
absolutely perfect. The timing, like we talked about last year when Bob Uecker passed away, it wasn't what he said that was funny. It was just the timing of it all.
Yeah.
And, of course, she had that
so good
in spades. Time now for our menu. It's brought to you by Greta. Greta, fantastic spot to pregame to postgame. They are mere steps from the stadium or the arena, so you're right close by. And if you're planning an event, hey, maybe it's a party to watch some sports in February. There's a big sporting festival going on in Italy. Check out Greta. They got a private room in the back on the riser. It's surrounded by television, surrounded by arcade games. They have fantastic street food. Try the smash burger. It's delicious. For more info, to book your event, go to gretabar.com. Greta 50, West Cordova. Let the games begin. Mike, we go to Marek or Paterson?
Patterson.
Jeff Patterson's going to join us after this Canucks victory. We will talk DPD. We will talk Jake DeBrusk. We'll talk Conor Garland. We'll talk Tolopilo. Jeff agrees with me that it's time to give Tolopilo some run. And then Marek. And well, Marek interviews kind of go everywhere because you know Jeff. He just loves talking to him some hockey. We
touch all the bases.
Well,
here.
we talk about the wisdom of a coaching change during the Olympic break, and including Manny Malhotra ascending to the Canucks top post. Later in the program, some news from the BC Lions, more Belichick Hall of Fame fallout. Seattle looks like they may win a Super Bowl. I think they're going to lose their offensive coordinator, and just all sorts of happenings, epic happenings down under finally at the Aussie Open, which got interesting in week 2. All that coming up on the show. Time now for our Bet 365 bets of the day. I had Bennett Seneca for a goal last night, Blake, and he did not score because the Anaheim Ducks did not score. So my streak snaps at 3.
I had the -1.5. I just certainly didn't win. But I'm going back to the Canucks game tomorrow.
Okay.
Because the money line, it favors the Canucks. And if they're ever going to be allowed by the 4 million tank commanders in the Lower Mainland to win back-to-back games, these would be the two.
Has to be it.
Plus 130 on the Canucks to beat the Leafs at 4 o'clock, of course.
I was explaining to my mom, who moved here a couple of years ago, that the Leafs game's always at 4 p.m. here. And she goes, did they do that for the Toronto people and the television audience? I go, that's exactly why they do it. And she goes, oh, that's got to be so upsetting to Canucks fans. And I go, well, the funny part is that, because I did this, I covered a number of these games back in my newspaper days. If you go talk to them in the building, they're actually quite happy about it. They're like, great. Have dinner after the game. Kids can come. It's not a late night. The security at Rogers Arena, oh my God, if they had 3 extra hours to drink before puck drop, couldn't imagine how many people we'd be dragging out here. Virtually everybody in the building is happy it's 4 p.m. Virtually everybody outside the building is angry.
It's just the reason.
That's right.
The actual act of showing up to a game at 4 o'clock is not an issue. 5 o'clock probably perfect, but there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just the
on
reason.
Their account.
Yes.
And I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm away next week, so I'm going Super Bowl pick here today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm going to take the points, but I'm taking Seattle to win the game, and I'm going to go under 45.5. I see a low-scoring game. I could be 100% wrong there. I've been wrong about a lot in these NFL playoffs, but that Seattle defense is extraordinary. I'm not sure they're going – New England's defense has been darn good in the playoffs. In fact, there's been some material written here about Mike Vrabel and some of the changes that the Patriots have made to their defensive scheme and the way they're playing teams in the postseason that have been fruitful for them. So I think you're looking at an excellent, like a near historic defense in Seattle, a defense that's playing really good ball on the New England side. I'm just not convinced Seattle is as good offensively as they looked against the Rams that Sam Darnold is. And Drake May has struggled here in the playoffs as well. So a lower scoring game, give me the 4.5. If it was 3.5, I might lay. Certainly if it was 3, I would think about laying, but 4.5, 21-17, you win with 4.5. So give me the 4.5 and I'll go under 45.5.
Wow.
On Super Bowl 60. The segment of presentation of Bet365, whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. J-Pat next. Secure some price from the Historic Wall Center. This next segment brought to you by Hurley with Levelwear. Golf having a moment right now, and not just the traditional sense. It used to feel buttoned up. It's become way more cultural. Athletes from all sorts of sports are trying it out, even surfers using it as a way to just enjoy the game differently. And that shift is exactly where Hurley's collaboration with Levelwear comes in. Hurley brings that laid-back board sports energy, and the collection pulls inspiration from the Hawaiian and coastal prints. Relaxed, expressive, rooted in lifestyle. Levelwear takes that inspiration and brings it to life through performance-driven, sustainably made apparel. It's actually built to move and to play. The result, the Fairwaves collection. Modern golf silhouettes that feel lighter, more wearable, less rigid, respectful of the game's roots, definitely not stuck in tradition. The collection is live, available on Levelwear's website. Go to levelwear.com. Check out the polos, hoodies, hats, and casuals. That's levelwear.com. And I got a note from home saying, you've got a package here. Get my Levelwear gear here. Oh, I think so. I think the Fairwaves collection has arrived at Casa Sequeiros.
Really?
Here's Jeff Patterson, our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver, who unpacked a shutout victory for the home team last night. Jeff?
And Matt, I'm sure you will look splendid in the Levelwear. I don't know that it'll help you swing like Corey Connors or Taylor Pendrith. I saw both of them rocking the gear at the Sony Open last week in Hawaii. Okay. So it does look good, I'll say. And I've been to the website. It's a lovely collection. But again, it'll help you look good. Just not sure what it can do for your swing.
Where's all this shade coming from?
So much shade
did I
Friday.
beat him recently or something? I've never beat him.
This is a guy that knows.
You sounded pretty excited about getting your Levelwear, and I can understand why, but it has its limitations, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Jeff.
Jeff, it's a lot of shade, and I'm here for it.
I need a lot of fixing is the moral of this story. Jeff, team shutout. I mean, I feel bad for Tolopilo in one respect, but hey, they both had to wear part of that Tuesday game against the Sharks. Just tell how rare is the team shutout? We don't often talk about the official scorer in hockey, but the official scoring came into play last night.
Yeah, Kevin Lankinen with his 2 minutes and 11 seconds made exactly one save, and I saw somebody point out that it actually deflected off Tyler Myers' skate.
Yes.
And so, but hey, everybody has their role to play, right? And Lankinen forced into action. Fascinating to hear Adam Foote after the game with the explanation that the concussion spotting process is different for goaltenders than it is for skaters. I didn't know that, so that's what I learned yesterday. But for Tolopilo, sure. I mean, that's the gold standard for goaltenders is stopping every puck that comes your way, and he did that. But I think the win is more important, and really the performance is the most important thing for him at this stage of his career. So he's backed up a 55-minute performance against San Jose, where he only gave up a couple of power play goals. One of them was a 5-on-3. This guy hasn't given up a 5-on-5 goal in his 2 appearances this week. You can't do any better than that. So he's a big man, as so many of today's goaltenders are, and I just think he understands that there's an economy to his motion. He doesn't seem to overplay pucks. He lets his size do a lot of the work for him. And he looked poised and patient. And, the Ducks can score. I know the Ducks are missing Leo Carlson and Troy Terry and Mason McTavish, and in a scoreless game midway through the third, of course, they would have loved to have had those guys at their disposal, but every team's got injuries, and the Canucks certainly aren't going to feel sorry for the Ducks and who they're missing from their lineup. But they're still a good rush team. They scored 3 power play goals the other night in Edmonton in a loss there, so they can still beat you, and give the Canucks credit. I thought they provided a much better defensive environment in front of both goaltenders last night than certainly the San Jose game, but really than we have seen on the homestand and on that 6-game road trip that preceded it. So it's in there somewhere.
Yes.
Deep down, it's there.
And Jeff, I'm glad you brought it up because we're going to be searching for, I know people hate the term, but moral victories. Maybe we can rephrase it. Chicken soup for the soul victories.
Do you remember,
for Canucks fans?
We've done this. Do you remember our segment back on TSN radio, what we used to call it? The Silver Linings
playback?
Yeah.
Yes. No, but I'm glad Jeff brought that up because your tweet about the game against Jersey, the perfect tank game, right? It was fun. It was entertaining for the fans. There were goals. The kids contributed, and it was a regulation loss. That's the perfect tank game. When you get shelled like you got shelled on Tuesday night, you need a reminder that this team is worthy of being on an NHL ice surface, and the defensive effort last night to get it so quickly, Jeff, after such an abomination on Tuesday, I think has got to make Foote and the players feel pretty good as well. Because they were down in the – I mean, you listen to Villander, you listen to Teddy Bluger, my God, were they down in the dumps after Tuesday.
Yeah, and look, they're not a confident bunch, right? A confident bunch. We know that. The record speaks for itself. And so to go scoreless through 50 minutes – there had to be guys on the bench thinking, when's it going to turn south? Like, we've held our own to this point, but we're the Canucks and things don't go our way. And so for them to keep at it and chip it away, and then ultimately, Aatu Ratu doesn't get a point on the opening goal, but he makes a nice play to pressure, I think it was Trouba, and then Jake DeBrusk seals off the wall, takes the puck, and is able to slip it across to Drew O'Connor. And I had to laugh, and good on Jake DeBrusk trying to, a little levity there. He talked post-game. I don't know if you remember in the first period, he had a 2-on-1, and it went absolutely nowhere. And he referenced that and said it was the worst 2-on-1 of the 600 games he's played in the National Hockey League. And he said there was no doubt I was passing the next time. And so puts it in the wheelhouse, and Drew O'Connor does what he's done all season, and a little bit of finish there, although I laughed when Lucas Dostal was quoted as, he called it a butterfly. Not quite Matt Murray saying he got lucky on it, but he said the fact that the puck was fluttering actually caused him more problems. He thought he was in decent position, but it got up in sort of that shoulder neck area and just squeezed through. So again, I mean, it was a fairly boring game. It picked up as it went along. The first period, there wasn't much there. I thought the Canucks got a little bit better in the second and then finally found a way to grind out a victory. They have not done that much this year where I've been able to win hockey games with 2 or fewer goals, just the 4th time all year that the Canucks have come out on top when scoring limited goals. And the other part there, guys, is that, they were pretty disciplined, right? Like the other day against Pittsburgh, they didn't take a penalty. And I thought, well, that's the best way for this penalty kill to get through unscathed is just stay out of the box. And they did a nice job of it last night until the final minute. And I don't know what Conor Garland was thinking. Adam Foote didn't seem to know what he was thinking post-game. They get away with it, but a clear slash chops the stick out of the hands of Olin Zellweger. And I thought, isn't this perfect? Like, the Canucks have gone 59 minutes here. It's a 1-0 game. And you watch, the bottom's going to fall out because they can't kill a penalty, but they dodged that bullet. And Teddy Bluger, again, this has been a remarkable week for him and a nice story. Steps back in the lineup, not just scoring goals, but he's out there to kill the penalty and kill off the clock, but takes matters into his own hands, says, hey, I'm not going to let Anaheim score on the power play. I'm going to zip it the length of the ice into the empty net and seal the deal there. So right to the final buzzer. There hasn't been enough of these nights, but credit where it's due. I thought there was a pretty solid, structured team game last night. 45-goal pace for Teddy Bluger. I think it might back off a little bit, but it's been a nice start to the season.
Can he share some with Conor Garland?
Yes, exactly. Really, the hottest point getter, though, is DeBrusk. We highlighted him earlier in the show, but your thoughts on his ability to not rely on streaky goal scoring. I mean, he's got 1 goal in 5, but he's got 6 points because he's found ways to be involved otherwise. And we've been a little bit critical of that in the past, that assist column hasn't helped him out. But there's been something different here from Jake.
Yeah, and you go back to Friday night, the game against New Jersey, and he played 12 minutes or something and went much of the second period without playing. And I think we thought, uh-oh, Jake's back in the doghouse. Learned afterwards that he was under the weather, and something seems to be going through this locker room. And so, it probably carried over through the weekend. I didn't think he was terrific against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Nobody was good enough against San Jose, but I liked his game. I thought he had jumped from the outset last night, 6 shots on goal on 7 attempts. Didn't score, but was around the puck, pucks on his stick in shooting positions. He was trying to make things happen. He had a sequence on the power play where he dragged the puck from the side of the net and got a couple of whacks at it. Couldn't squeeze it through Dostal at that point, but that's how he has scored the bulk of his goals this season, is in and around the blue paint. So, he looked like he was back on his game, and maybe it was the fact that it was his 600th game in the National Hockey League. He spoke about that post-game and said, he's not in it for 600 or 700, but as a kid growing up, he wouldn't have believed it if you had told him he was going to get 600 games in the National Hockey League. So it was just nice to see a smile on his face. It's been a tough year for him. He's worn a lot of this losing. You know that. He doesn't try to hide it. And so, I thought, and he started the game lower in the lineup. That's the other thing, too, that some guys in that situation might sulk or think there's a coach's message there. I just thought he put his work boots on and went at it last night, and ultimately was able to crack the goal scoring and set up O'Connor for that opening goal that turned out to be the game winner. So, nice night all around, I thought, for Jake DeBrusk.
Also, page 2 of my Silver Linings playback here, in addition to better defensive play, one thing that people have been calling for, I'm not usually on this train at all, but there's been numerous instances, most recently the Brock Besser injury, where people have said, why is there zero response? DPD stepped up with the physical response there in that game. And you can see that he's that strong, he's that big, that he won that encounter. The Ducks needed 2 or 3 guys to sort of erase DPD. It was a good sign.
It was, and didn't go unnoticed. Coach with the flowers for him post-game as well. And so I would agree with you. I was happy to see the response there. You're talking about that third period sequence where Zellweger had the puck and tried to tuck it in, and then there was a bit of a scrum at the side of the net. Now, I'll give him credit there. I didn't love the fact that there was zero response when the Ducks went bowling for Tolopilo in the first period. Like, Ryan Poehling can't just go untouched to the front of the net, takes the penalty, and I get that it's a power play for the Canucks. Come on, it's game 54 of a season that's in the toilet. We saw what happened to Brock Besser the other day. There was no response then. At some point, I do want to see somebody step outside their comfort zone and just offer up a little bit of resistance. And so I was disappointed in the moment. Certainly, the Canucks would tell you, well, power play, we'll make them pay, but they didn't. And so I thought that was a missed opportunity. And I don't know if, there's a correlation from one to the other, but in that moment, DPD thought that Zellweger got an extra shot in on his goaltender and rode to his defense. And so I like to see that. I don't think we've seen enough of that, quite frankly, from DPD. I think he's been okay this season, but I don't know that he's been as good as he was last year. And one of the things everybody fell in love with right from the outset was this guy carved out a role for himself at the National Hockey League level, took no crap from anybody. And I want to see that back in his game. And so if it's taken this long, but it has returned now, I want to see that for the rest of the season whenever he's in the lineup.
We were this close to a do something from Jeff. And honestly, Evander Kane, you want out of here? You want to trade? You want to go to a contender or a playoff team? That was your moment.
Yes, but also it can't all just fall at the feet of Evander Kane. He's not going to be here much longer, right? I'd like to see somebody else kind of step out of their comfort zone once or twice. But you're right. While he's employed by this hockey club and he's on the bench at the very least, there could have been moments in the game for some sort of and I'm not going this isn't a bloodthirst from J-Pat. It's just it's a physical game. And there has to, if you're trying to instill culture, and we hear this all the time, then you can't let these things mount on a nightly basis where teams are taking liberties with your players. You just can't let that happen.
Third person reference from J-Pat. Normally only hear that on the golf course when he's upset with himself. Mike, nobody self-admonishes themselves better than Blake and Jeff on the golf course. The full names, it is truly...
He has less opportunity to admonish.
That's fair enough. Very fair enough. I want to get back to Garland for a second, to Jeff, because Is he tradable? 30 years old, going into a 6x6 extension with 1 in 23, none in the last 16, and pointless in 12 games? Or is he just on Operation Shutdown like Hughes and Sherwood before him? Talk to me.
It's hard to figure out. And I haven't had a chance to talk to him certainly this week. We all laud this guy for the passion, the fire, drags this team into the fight, literally fights for this team. We've seen that with Jared McCann in Seattle. We saw it early in the season as well. There's just nothing there right now. And that's the inexplicable part to me is they give out 2 assists on every goal. Like, how do you not just pick up a freebie somewhere along the line? And they elevated him last night. He was playing with Elias Pettersson and Evander Kane, and say what you will about the others. I mean, that is an offensive line. It's Petey's been all right of late, and Garland just can't collect a crumb right now. So it's hard to figure. He doesn't look like himself. And I've seen people, he's pouting since they traded Quinn Hughes. And there might be some of that. But guess what? This is pro sports. Guys get traded all the time, and you are paid to deal with it and process it in your own way and move on. And it's been 6 weeks now. And so it's so hard to explain that he just doesn't look like the pepper pot guy that's out there, driving other teams nuts and getting in their faces and all that kind of stuff. It's just so quiet. And then he goes and takes the late penalty that we talked about, which is out of character for him, but maybe it speaks to a little bit of frustration, although the team was winning in that situation. So I don't know. I mean, it really is difficult to figure out. I do wonder if it tracks back to the fact that he came back off injury. He missed 5 games in his latest stint on the shelf, came back middle of that 6-game road trip. And if it's just not 100%, I don't know. But that's not the Conor Garland that we have watched here and the fans have come to love over the last bunch of years in Vancouver. And it stands out because it's so outside the norm for that player.
Yep. No, I'm 100% with you. I sure hope for his case it is the injury, because it's hard to explain otherwise. Let's ask you our Yellow Dog poll question. Do you want to see Nikita Tolopilo get some run here, Jeff? I do. Time?
Yeah, absolutely. 3 games to go before the Olympic break. I'd like to see him play 2 of the 3. I think they split the 2 out on the road, but I'd come back with him against Toronto. Why not? Kevin Lankinen is going to the Olympics. He's going to be busy. He doesn't need games. He's not playing particularly well right now. I think the way they had stacked it up was Tolopilo would go the distance against the Ducks, and then Lankinen would get the Saturday night featured game on hockey night, a chance for the Canucks to redeem themselves after the poor performance in Toronto 3 weeks ago. But I would come, right now, sort of win and you're in. Why not? This guy, you want to see what you've got. And for all their struggles of late, and the Leafs are maybe in a worse way than the Canucks in the last 3 weeks, they've still got guys that can put the puck in the net. William Nylander is supposed to come back into their lineup. I think offensively, they can pose a challenge for any goaltender. So I think it would be a good test for Nikita Tolopilo. And then obviously you're going out on the road, Utah. Utah's playing well right now. They're one of the best teams in the league on home ice. So that's going to be a challenge. And then Vegas, unless Vegas's Olympians all kind of have their feet up and are coasting into the break, they're Vegas. And they're going to be all that the Canucks can handle as well. So there won't be an easy game out on the road. I would think you would split those 2. And then they've got a decision to make. And if I'm advising Adam Foote, and I don't know that I've got his ear, but why wouldn't you at this stage just come right back from Nikita Tolopilo and see if he can go the distance, stay in the game, and see what he can do against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 4:00 start.
They don't often start a goalie 3 times in a row that's not named Thatcher Demko unless they absolutely have to. I'll be surprised, but
right. But this wouldn't be 3 in a row for
no,
Tolopilo,
it'd be 2
right?
because he played. He relieved
Lankinen against San Jose.
I know, but he played 55 minutes. So
yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. You've got an afternoon affair versus the Leafs tomorrow, so it'll be an
home early. Yeah,
RinkWide. You may be even home in time for supper with Shannon, and you're in for me next week. So thank you for this, Mr. Patterson. Appreciate it, and Jeff on Monday. Catch RinkWide Saturday after the game.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Oh, Botchford Project. I forgot to ask. Botchford Project. How did Botchford Project go last night?
Yeah, I thought it was terrific. Good group, and they seemed to hold their own, certainly in the media availability. They're asking Adam Foote questions, which I thought was terrific. It's all part of the experience. We say dig in, and they all had their players that they talked to. I think it was Liam Ogren, it was Petey, one of the candidates, had a good 10-minute chat with Elias Pettersson. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of that. Max Sasson didn't play, but he had lots of time after his morning skate to sit down with one of our finalists as well. And then, they come back for the game last night. Again, not the greatest of games, but it picked up. Hey, they saw a Canuck win. And there are not a lot of people that can say they've seen a Canuck win in person. So,
also, we all know.
Thinking, I hope none of them are writing off this game.
Well, we all know the players are a little more chatty after victory. So for their sake, probably a good thing.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so it's always terrific. It's a reminder, it's a day of reflection, but also, there was one moment in the locker room where our three finalists were there talking to Quadrelli, Tyson Cole, Chris Faber, Izzy, who works at the Hockey News now, Adam Gerzenblatt from the Hockey News. There were 8 that all had a direct tie to the Watchford Project standing there in the Canucks locker room after a morning skate. And
amazing.
If that's not proof positive, and last year, Noah Strang was around the hockey club. He's not there this year, but he's part of it as well. So, I mean, really, it has done what we hoped it would do in terms of producing that next wave. And hopefully they all have long and prosperous careers. And hopefully this cohort will join them. So we got to get through the editing process. I don't know about timelines and when things will be posted, but we'll certainly push all that out on social media. And I look forward to reading their work. And it was just terrific to get a chance to spend the day and the night with them.
That's awesome. Delighted for them. Great selections, Kat Botchford, as always, and good shepherding you and Mr. Drance and everyone else with the Canucks who takes care of this and or the custodians, if you will, here of this initiative. Okay, Jeff, thank you for this. We'll watch RinkWide tomorrow night after the game against the Leafs, and you'll be in this chair on Monday. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you have a good break, and we'll see you on Monday, Blake.
Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center.
This segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. The SEs are on special right now, and you want to take one for a test drive and see what all the buzz is about. It is a sports car. It is an errands car. It's a road trip car. Can it do all that, Blake? It can. Go take it for a test drive. You'll see what we're talking about. All the cargo space, the luxury drive, the fabulous space in the back, and then, of course, there is the gas pedal, or the accelerator, I should say, because it can be an electric car if you want it to be. Go take it out right now. $109 weekly for the SEs. It's based on 3.99% APR financing over 64 months with $3,300 down. ShopToyota.ca or your Pacific Toyota dealer.
And golf clubs. It will store your golf clubs. It will store multiple sets of golf clubs. And as we're about to turn the calendar here to February, it's now afternoon golf season, Blake. You can tee off after lunch and get a full 18.
My allergies were killing me the other day. Anyway, Jeff Marek's in Ontario. How are you, Jeff?
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah, digging out of 30, 40 centimeters of snow. Last night was a balmy dash 24. So not thinking about afternoon golf anytime soon, but I think I've mentioned to you guys on a couple of different occasions, not much of a golfer.
No.
Always remember, when it comes to Marek, the best 2 balls he hits is when he steps on a rake. So
right.
not the finest of all possible.
The rare sports media
enjoy.
Personality that is not a golfer. It's right. It's tough to find these days.
Oh yeah, I know. I maybe it's just because I've never excelled at it, and I quit early on it. I think I played. I'll play at the odd charity event, and I'm really, really miserable. Yeah. Both my kids play. Both my kids, the last 2 summers have picked it up, and so the boys love golf. So and when we travel down south, we always try to find a resort that has a course. So I play caddy. I drive golf carts. That's what I do. I'm a sports Uber who drives golf carts. That's what it says on the business card.
It's a good dad.
You were such a get-along guy. You were such a great dad to your what was it again? He's got a
2010, 2012. 2010, 2012.
He's got a 2010 and a 2012, right?
Yeah.
They have names, but we'll just call them by their birth year.
We got to go douchebag hockey dad style here on this one.
I was saying in the previous segment, after watching the game Tuesday, where the San Jose Sharks looked like they were playing pond hockey, river hockey, it was that easy. Ooh. I felt super good for those Canucks players yesterday. to be able to hang a zero and talk about a shutout post game with both goaltenders, as it turns out, because the defending Tuesday was just not at an NHL level. I'm not sure it was at an AHL level. And so to see what we saw in a bounce back, and especially for this coaching staff, Jeff.
One of the things that we tend to forget is how much pride athletes have, and as much as management may want to rebuild things, coaches and players don't. They're still playing for their team and playing for themselves, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know the common wisdom might be, oh yeah, these guys have all thrown in the towel. These guys have all you don't get to the NHL by having an attitude like that. So I kind of get the feeling that it's going to be like this the rest of the way for the Vancouver Canucks. There's going to be those games where the Macklin Celebrinis and Will Smiths demonstrate why they're the next wave of elite level player in the NHL. And then there's going to be those, we have too much pride to let this happen, bounce backs. And I say that tongue planted firmly in cheek, I know, because watching last night, watching the Maple Leafs lose to the Seattle Kraken, as their woes, they just keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And I say to myself, like, at a certain point, I remember Darren McCarty told me once, I asked him, like, when did you hit rock bottom? And he said, you never hit rock bottom. All you do is decide to stop digging. And it doesn't always last, but yesterday, at least for one night, the Vancouver Canucks players, coaching staff decided to stop digging. And you're right, they can feel good about themselves about last night against a team that's really, once again, turning heads in the Anaheim Ducks.
They may have Game 7 of their own Stanley Cup final tomorrow against those Leafs, because when they know that the Leafs are on death's door and they might be able to deal the fatal blow, and I would guess at least half that Canucks room will know that. I would say they find something extra tomorrow, don't you?
It's interesting how it works at a lot of different levels too. Every single Vancouver Canucks fan wants to be the team that puts the dagger in the Maple Leafs. Now, I maintain that dagger's already in, and it was at the hands of the Buffalo Sabres earlier this week, and specifically Rasmus Dahlin. How do you not cheer for Rasmus Dahlin this year, and that hat trick and 2 assists in that game as well? But I mean, even though they're not sort of lowering the body into the grave or lowering the coffin, I'm sure Vancouver Canucks fans would delight in at least throwing some dirt on it. Yeah. And there's going to be a great chance for them to do it on Saturday night, on Hockey Night in Canada. It's funny too, because there's a lot of teams that feel that way and a lot of players that feel that way. Having said that, I've always maintained that if you're an NHLer and your team doesn't make the playoffs and you're concerned about escrow, you want the Maple Leafs and the Rangers and Chicago and all these other teams to go as deep in the playoffs as you can. Although as many have told me, I will park that vibe if it means the Maple Leafs are out early.
Well, and of course, they will also revel in being able to shut up the home Leafs crowd here in Vancouver.
There's that too, all those people.
Because there is going to be a lot of blue and white in the building, given the way this Canucks season has gone, and the folks selling off their tickets.
Can I ask you a question? I've always wondered about this, and the NHL does this, obviously, with the Global Series, for example. Like, they'll buy out the home games, right? So they can play them in Sweden, Finland, and Germany. Like, that's the way that it works. So was looking at the schedule not too long, the NHL schedule, and looking at the last Washington Capital. I'm going to get back to Vancouver here. The last Washington Capitals game of this season. Okay, and it might be the last ever game in the NHL for Alexander Ovechkin, and it's in Columbus at Nationwide Arena. The NHL, for events like the Global Series, will buy out teams from their home game. We've never seen a team, though, buy a home game away from another team. Now, at Nationwide, for that game, it's going to be full of Capitals fans, which pay top dollar to go there, so scalpers will make a ton of money. The secondary market will make a lot of money. If you're the Washington Capitals, could you even propose to buy a home date off of another team? No. And play it at home? My instinct says no, but if both teams are out, and it's like, essentially, do the Columbus Blue Jackets want a Washington Capitals home game at Nationwide on game 82? The answer is probably no. it's never been really, I've never had the conversation before if it's even allowed.
No.
If you could do it for two teams that are out. I mean, I know I have a lot of stupid ideas in my head, and this is probably just the latest one, but I wonder about this one.
But they're a good hockey market.
no.
They'll like having Ovechkin.
No. It's a competitive matter. It's irregular. It's a competitive matter, and we wouldn't want to cause a hysteria with our fans.
The
who are
integrity
clamoring to
of
buy
the league
games
is
from
of
other
such
teams.
that you need to have that.
I don't think he would allow it.
The issue is you don't want to set the precedent.
That's it. That's
Right?
it. Like, because then the Leafs can
that's
go
all
about
you're
buying
concerned
home
about.
games for, the Leafs and Rangers can go about buying home games, and then next thing you know, you got a competitive.
It's a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering about like a non-precedent
Jeff-
setting, once in a lifetime, last game for. I don't know. I'm just thinking like how my brain goes here, guys.
Yeah.
Hey,
So I'm just wondering about that. These are things that occupy my time.
And before you say anything untoward about Columbus, Jeff, just remember this league has never been stronger. Okay.
Well, you know what they should. You know what they should have done. They should have done the last game of the season. They saw this coming a mile away. They should have done a stadium series game. They should have done a stadium series game on the last day of the season. Now, I guess they could have had playoff implications. You don't want that outside, but 100,000 people at Penn State watching Ovechkin. There you go.
Or just have the last game of the season in Washington and make it against Columbus if you have to. He started his career against Columbus in Washington. Why
It's
not
weird that they didn't.
finish it that way, if that's the way they're
If
going?
you want to say
I
the
am
schedule
kinda
maker
stunned
should have
about
had
it.
them at home on game 82, fair enough.
Yeah.
But hey, this is how the cookie crumbles.
How good was? We're going to get back to the Canucks, I promise. Nordiques versus Habs last night. How good was that?
Well, especially when the rough stuff started, I was like,
Oh my
God, Vendredi Saint is happening
At
again.
3-2, 4-2, whatever it was, and they were pushing and shoving. I was like, oh my God, inject it.
Yeah, I was waiting for a horrible incident because it ended, one player's career, but Slager and Hamel. All over again with one official. That's always like the cautionary tale of one official trying to break up a fight. Like for everybody outside of Quebec City, it looked fantastic. It looked nostalgic. I understand Quebec Nordiques fans getting their backs up about it. More salt in the open wound, another knee to the ribs, another sand in the face, like the whole deal. But yeah, like I still get, I got that soap and warm water feeling watching it, and remembering back to all those games that took 4.5 hours to play and sort out penalty minutes, and watching the fights and also watching Stastny's and all of it. It was my favorite rivalry. It was my favorite rivalry in the history of me being a hockey fan. Like Edmonton, Calgary was great for a long time. But the thing about Montreal and Quebec, as you guys well know, it was more than just a game. Like it didn't hit the pitch of like 1969 World Championships, after the Soviet tanks rolled down the cobblestone streets of Prague, Czechoslovakia facing off against the Soviet Union. Those were the two most intense games I would submit in the history of hockey. And you hear those players from Vaslav Nadamansky to Bobby Holik's dad talking about how we would die before we let the Soviets win those games. So it wasn't like that, but the closest thing to it were Habs Nordiques, because it was not just two rival teams. It was about, who was a true Quebecer, a Montreal Quebecer or a Quebec City Quebecer. And it was also brewery versus brewery. Let's not forget about that little sidebar to all of it. Like everything about that rivalry was just so perfect. And every game at the Colisée and every game at the Forum was so special because those buildings were special and the players were special and the violence had a very unique flavor to it as well. And yeah, man, that Louis Slager and Jean Hamel was one of the toughest things I'd ever seen in a fight.
But last night was a color rush too. The blue versus the red too.
It was beautiful.
Oh, so good.
Just popped. It was anyway. I know I went on a long time about that, but yeah, long answer to a quick question. Yeah, loved it.
Gord Miller once said before a Czech-Slovak game, if you put a sword at center ice, someone might use it. In terms of Habs Nordiques, so here's the thing, and I can vividly remember being there as a kid. Daniel Bouchard standing on his head, and the Nordiques got an upset victory. And oh my God, getting a win over the Habs in those days, especially at the Forum, was a very big deal for those Nords fans.
Didn't pro wrestler Dino Bravo in Montreal go after a Quebec Nordiques either player or coach?
I believe that.
I got to go back and look at that.
Dino Bravo.
The late Dino Bravo, who died in very interesting fashion.
That was
went after either a Nordique player or a coach. Do you remember that, Maddie? Like, Blake,
I have vague recollections. I'm going to look that up. And of course, afterwards he set the world bench press record and then challenged Hogan for the belt on Saturday night's main event.
With the assistance of Jesse the Body Ventura, if memory
of course,
serves.
and his manager Jimmy Hart with the megaphone on the ring apron. No, here's the thing: a lot of Nordiques fans transferred their fandom over to the Avalanche quite quickly. And a lot of that had to do with Quebec City born, raised hero Patrick Roy. I don't think it hurt that Pierre Lacroix was running the team as well. And Patrick wasn't the only French-Canadian Quebecois on the team. I do think it is a gut punch, and it's a gut punch in particular because Gary has been so dismissive about that market ever getting an NHL team back, despite the fact they have two things going for them that a lot of these other markets don't have going for them. Number one, they have an NHL-ready rink in the Videotron Center. Yes. Number two, they actually have people who like hockey, who are fans of the sport of hockey. Like, you're not teaching hockey to anyone if you drop a team there. I heard Justin Bourne on Kiprio's show make a fantastic point. If they're going to do that, especially in the Forum, make a donation to Quebec City Minor Hockey. Say, here you go, Quebec City Minor Hockey. We, the Colorado Avalanche, are spending some money or equipment, whatever the case may be, to help grow the game in your town for the right to be able to use your sweater, something that so many of you feel so emotional about.
Metro area of Quebec City is 850 right now, so that's itty-bitty. But it's Ottawa and Winnipeg. I mean, it's no smaller than that.
No, I think he's unhappy they have two Canadian markets of that side. A third one is indigestible for the Knish.
Selfishly, I would love to see it again. I wonder, the one thing that one of the things we come back to is the corporate support and the volatility of the Canadian dollar. Are two issues, which is why, listen, the next round of expansion, I think we're all expecting is going to be Houston and Atlanta. And then after, once, the municipalities sort their issues out, we wonder about Arizona again. And then after that, we'll see. I think there are still many that wonder if Gary's last signature move is a second team in Toronto, which, as I talk to members of the BOG year after year, that's one of the things that a lot of people still keep coming back to.
It's the best hockey market left for expansion because it could absolutely support two teams. The other thing about Quebec City, and especially in this day and age when the United States feels even more distant from the rest of the world, I think it's the French thing too. I think, another first overall pick refusing to play in Quebec City, or anybody refusing to play in Quebec City because they're just daunted by the linguistics of it all, is not something the NHL wants to deal with. Okay, let's talk Canucks.
Okay.
Some are wondering if you're making a coaching change with Adam Foote, is the Olympic break the time to do it? To that, you would say,
no. I would say Adam Foote squires this until the end of the season, and if you're going to make a coaching change, you want to do it when the field is as open as possible, unless the person you have in mind is close to signing with another team. Or if someone suddenly becomes available, I think at that point you make your move.
Or you're promoting Manny Malhotra.
And you don't want to lose him in the offseason. Yeah.
That to me makes, Malhotra makes 100% sense. Right? And I think that this is a team that is in, as we all know, and you guys document on your program on a consistent basis, obviously, in a very sensitive a very sensitive area and in a very sensitive way right now. I think everything has to be kid gloves, as like it's always in some ways easier to tear down than build up. That's obvious, but right now I think if you're Patrick Allvin, you're Jim Rutherford, you're looking at Adam Foote and you're saying, unless we feel that our guy's going somewhere, you're landing the plane here. This is yours for the remainder of the season, unless someone completely falls into your lap, as unexpected as perhaps St. Louis found themselves when they punted Drew Bannister. I was never really given a chance with the St. Louis Blues because Jim Montgomery became available, bluntly.
The Canucks also need to decide what they're going to be next year, and my gut and most people's guts, I think, are as good as possible. Probably they don't have much of an appetite, I don't think, to tank for 2 years.
I have a tank theory that may satisfy their PR and optics requirements, but you go ahead with yours, and then I'll.
But that also informs this decision as well, doesn't it? Because if you want to be the best you can be next year, then sure, bring in Malhotra. But if you would like one more year of a top draft pick, I mean, like, what if Malhotra makes you the 24th best team in the league? Like, you'd rather be the 30th team in the league, not the 24th.
Yeah. And the sidebar to that as well, go look at the history of the NHL and how many coaches have started rebuilds and finished them.
No, they don't happen. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Hired to be fired.
Someone who's in there to get the team to a certain place, and then that person is jettisoned when the team is ready to win. The most recent we've just seen, of course, the Anaheim Ducks, by bringing in Joel Quenneville as they were ready to turn the page. This is a story that's as old as the game itself.
Yeah.
So perhaps if you're again, like, we're just assuming that the job is available. Manny Malhotra is the preferred candidate. Of course, Manny Malhotra is going to take it. Is he? Like, if you're Manny Malhotra and you're saying this is going to be a rebuild and you're thinking about your career, how many coaches finish rebuilds? They don't finish rebuilds. So maybe we take some of these assumptions about coaches that these gigs only appear every now and then. You got to take whatever you can get. When you're looking at career longevity, it might not be the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, I've always been told it's one of 32. You got to take it. But you're right.
I know.
He's a good name, though, so if he holds out, he's still going to get a shot, you'd think.
So here's my theory. It is going to be quite difficult because, as Jeff Marek, who has been Kreskin on this matter, foreshadowed for us way back in September, October, Caleb Malhotra is probably going to be a higher pick than the experts thought at the beginning of the year. But
this guy,
the theory would be you elevate Manny, you trade what you have to trade with that second first-round pick to move up and take Caleb Malhotra, and then you go ahead and you present, see, we are actually doing a rebuild. We've got McKenna or Stenberg. We've got Malhotra. We've got Manny. Yeah. We're doing as you pleased, Vancouver public. Again, it's going to be hard because when Caleb was a 15 to 25 guy, that's a trade that I think is if Caleb is a 5 to 15 guy, as Jeff has been telling us, that's going to be more difficult to do.
And he keeps on getting better too, and he plays a premium position. You're going to love him, like, both on and off the ice, like everything. He is the son that you would expect Manny Malhotra to have, if that makes sense. Like, he is already a thorough professional. He's going to be someone that whomever gets him is going to be, proud to have them as a member of the team. Like, at every single level, Caleb Malhotra is absolutely nailing it, and he's an outstanding player at the same time too. And if you can land 2 in the top 5 and pick up Malhotra along the way, if you're the Vancouver Canucks, then all of a sudden the brother act turns into father-son. From Burke to Rutherford here, it's a sexy showbiz play, certainly, and it's a very smart hockey play.
You want sexy showbiz play? Which is a better nostalgia play, Matt's play or the Ruck Twins in Medicine Hat? Where you've already got those draft picks perfectly. Yeah. Minnesota and your 32nd overall pick would get you the Ruck Twins. It's already plug and play.
Yeah. Liam has so much helium, he may actually go before the second first round pick. But
But you tell me, getting twins back on the Vancouver Canucks, I mean, that would be pretty cool too.
Yeah. That would be super cool as well. One thing that I did want to mention, speaking of Vancouver here and prospects, how did you guys feel about Macklin Celebrini yesterday trying to wave off the high stick?
I thought I think he knows in his heart of hearts he's probably it's not gonna affect it. Like, a ref's not pulling that back. He felt bad immediately. Like, we know the kid a little bit. I think he immediately felt like, oh God, and he knows cameras are everywhere. He knows it's good. So I think he was like, oh, it was his instinct, I think, even though I think intellectually he knew that it wasn't going to get pulled back.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's a single human being more wired mentally, emotionally, or physically to be the next face of the National Hockey League in this era and with younger audiences.
Yeah.
I think Macklin is going to hit every right note at every stage around us throughout his career, and do it with more charisma and pizzazz than Sidney or Wayne or Mario or Gordy or anyone who has ever done it
He's
before.
Sidney's character, but with more fun.
Way more personality and way more fun-loving. And here's the thing. The NHL is not going to beat the personality out of this kid because he is going to be such a star that he is going to set new rules, and he's going to take that code, and it's going over the shoulder. Goodbye. New era. Macklin Celebrini's here. That's my prediction.
What did you think?
Okay, so a couple of things came to mind right away. I remember one of the times interviewing Sidney Crosby, and I asked him what he regrets early on in his career. And he said he's spent a lot of time apologizing over the years to referees. He said, like, early in my career, I was awful to referees. We all know about, and this happened to Wayne too, right? Like, Wayne was the same way. Or like kids whining, complaining, blah, 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 blah. Sidney said that he spent a lot of time apologizing to referees over the year for how he behaved when he was a younger player in the league. So I have a couple thoughts here. So one, Macklin Celebrini thinks about hockey differently, having grown up in a very athletic family, and understands this game at a lot of different levels. One, there's a stick near his face, and I've always said this, like, you're not trying to draw a penalty by throwing your head back. What you're doing is you're trying to protect your face.
Yeah.
And if you see suddenly something pop in front of your face, your natural instinct, whether it's on the ice or on the street or walking through your kitchen, your first instinct is to throw your head back. It's not to draw a penalty. And I think that Celebrini is sensitive about not wanting to earn a certain reputation amongst officials that he dives to draw penalties. Like, we all looked at that and said, wow, you know what? Good for him. That's like the code. You're not faking it out there. You're not diving. Good for this kid. Pause. It's a gold medal game, Canada versus USA.
Wow,
and someone gets a stick up around Macklin Celebrini's face, and he throws his head back and the arm goes up. Does Macklin Celebrini say,
nope?
No, he didn't high stick me.
That's
no
different.
Chance.
That's different.
No chance he does it.
Oh, wait.
He knew they were beating the Vancouver Canucks. He does.
Do we hang
What's
on
the
a second.
score? It's 5-0 Canada. He might.
Do we like what he did? Well, we do on a Thursday night in the NHL.
That's right.
Sure do.
Yeah, that's right.
Do we like it in a gold medal game against the
No, as you know, come that gold medal game, John Ferguson Sr., Bobby Clark rules apply.
As our parents all told us, there's a time and place for everything.
That dirty Harlamoff had it coming to him, Jeff. All right?
Yes, right.
We are going to need you to recite the loyalty creed here. You are at risk of losing your passport.
Which is why Bobby Clark had to break his ankle and Ricky Lee had to punch him in the handshake line during the WHA versus Soviets.
He had that coming
series,
too.
Whatever that was. In the handshake line, yes.
That's right.
Existed in front of Rick Lee, so he had to come
how dare he exist in front of tough Rick Lee? You know...
That's awesome.
You know, you don't wave the bait in front of Ricky Lee and get away with it.
No, you don't, sir. You do not.
You had Evander Kane information I wanted to get to today.
Sure.
I saw it earlier the week on the sheet. Devils are interested there?
I'm sorry, the first part, Devils are interested.
Devils are interested in Evander Kane?
They have been previously. There have been like when Evander Kane was in Edmonton last year or the year before. There was the New Jersey Devils. Things may have changed, but the New Jersey Devils were a team that had conversations with the Oilers about Evander Kane. Should they remember there was a salary cap situation last year? Should they have to make a move? Evander Kane, I believe that there were some discussions there, and I believe at times the Rangers had showed interest in Evander Kane. Again,
they're not buying right.
This is the Rangers
neither are the Devils
though.
I don't think
the Devils just shed Palat, so
yeah.
But
they just shed Palat, and they just lost Jack Hughes again last night.
Yes,
so
they did.
And they're 9 points back.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's getting short in the day. Okay, Easter egg time, as always.
Okay.
You have Blake Price at your disposal, and I felt really bad about the degree of difficulty last week, so I have quite dumbed this one down so that it doesn't require you knowing that you can make an educated guess, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So this week we celebrated the 10-point game of Daryl Sittler, the all-time record for points in a single NHL hockey game. Nobody has scored 9 points in a game. He's actually 2 better than anybody has ever scored in the game with that 10-point game.
Mm-hmm.
How many instances of 8-point games have there been in NHL history? How many 8-point games in NHL history?
I'm going to say 3.
Yeah, that was my gut too, honestly, right on the nose.
So I'm going to
We're
go
going with 3.
I'm going to go Mario, I'm going to go Rocket, and I'm going to go Patrick Sundstrom.
Patrick, I in my mind, I've got a crazy Lanny McDonald game in my mind, but you go ahead. What are we at?
Rocket Richard is correct. Yeah. Mario Lemieux is correct. Yeah. You guys, you said 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add 6.
9 8-point games?
9 8-point games in NHL history. The bonus
was
question.
Was Sundstrom one of them?
Sundstrom was not one of them. Sundstrom was not one. The bonus question. Who's done it most recently?
Who had a crazy one?
Yes, Blake.
Eberle?
Not Eberle, but you're in the right territory.
Yeah, it was somebody like that.
2012.
Sam
Was
Gagner?
it Taylor Hall?
Very good, Blake Price.
Gagner.
Sam
Gagner, of course,
in
against Chicago.
2012 had an 8-point game.
Yeah,
of course.
The others on the list, Brian Trottier, Wayne Gretzky, Bert Olmsted of the 54 Habs. I've never seen this name in my life. Jeff, you might have to help me. Philadelphia Flyer, 1977, Tom Bladen?
Tom Bladen, yeah.
Bladen.
Yeah, Tom Bladen. That was 4 goals, 4 assists against Cleveland, and I believe the final score of that game was 11-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then 2 guys with 8-point games on the same night, playing on the same line.
Not Oilers.
As rookies. Not Oilers.
What decade?
Hang on.
1981. We have mentioned their team in this segment already.
Okay, Stastny's.
Very good.
Which
ones?
Yeah.
Peter and Anton.
Yes.
Peter and Anton.
Peter and Anton.
I was wondering about like
each
Luke
had
Robitaille
nights
and Jimmy Carson or something like that.
in an 11-7 victory at the Capitals in February 81 as rookies.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. You know what? I've thought a lot about this one. I don't think that Sittler record will ever be broken. Like, there's a few that'll never be broken. Through a few records. I don't think Ovechkin's ever will. I don't think that Glenn Hall's consecutive streak will. I don't think that Billy Smith's 21 career fights as a goaltender will ever be broken.
As we discussed last week, yes.
If Gretzky and Lemieux couldn't do it, if McDavid can't do it, it's not happening. I agree.
No, but here's why. Here's the Tage. Remember Tage Thompson a couple of years ago against the Columbus Blue Jackets and had 5 points in the first period. We're like, oh my God, Sittler watch. This is amazing. And what happened?
Shut down the game.
They reduced his ice time. Reduced his ice time. PP1 wasn't going out there.
Right.
He wasn't on the first power. Like, there's not a spirit in the NHL right now about players showing up other players and blowing teams out and throwing your first power play unit out there. I think, personally, I find that, as someone who loves the history of the game but wants every single record to be broken, because I want every generation of hockey fan to be able to say, my generation broke records. I think it's really important for the health of the game. I find it sort of criminal, the way that teams will not embrace, and Buffalo was guilty of this with Tage Thompson, not embrace the idea of your player achieving individual greatness. Do we know if Tage Thompson would have hit Darryl Sittler's tent? We don't. But we never get. But they never gave him a good shot at it.
Here's where I'll agree with you on that. It's an entertainment product, and if you've committed, especially on the PP1, the 5-on-5 ice time, you want to decrease that in a game like that, sure. But if you've committed a penalty, I'm sorry, it's an entertainment product.
No, I agree.
PP1 should be able to go out there.
No, but guys, from a coach's perspective, you have a 5-point period. Astonishing. You're only halfway there.
Yeah.
You've got 40 minutes to get 5 points, which would be a stupid, ridiculous achievement on any other night.
60 minutes. Yes.
So, no, if you're after the first period, you got 5.
I'm saying that would be a crazy achievement for 60 minutes.
But it's even more astonishing for over 40 minutes. So I think coach, player, and everyone alike is like, what are the odds? What are the chances? And they just surrender on it early.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think I'm going to sound so stupid what I'm about to say, but grain of salt, I think you owe it to hockey. This guy's close to a record.
I'm 100% with you, but they don't think that way.
But that's the thing. They do, and that's why we got to go back to 1976,
right?
For the record. And again, so part of that story was, so Jerry Cheevers had just come back from the WHA, and he didn't want to go in the game, and he put a towel on his head on the bench, like, "Do not, I am not going in this game." So
I remember
poor Dave Reese had to rot in net, and Dave never played another game in the NHL again.
We may have seen a template
you don't see.
Rot.
We may have seen a template for it though to happen. Is the Sam Gagner night is a perfect example of the only way that it can happen, because no coach after the game is like, you can't keep throwing Sam Gagner over the boards. It's Sam Gagner. It's true. That's the best case to happen, is that some guy in the middle six goes off. Because then the coach on the other side can't be like, why are you still throwing Sam Gagner over the boards? Because it's Sam Gagner.
Tom Bladen, you had your shot in 77. No, the extent of NHL head coaches getting romantic is, so-and-so is from Edmonton. He'll get the opening shift when we play the Oilers.
Yeah.
That's the extent of their
you could take the
story
face off
into their consideration.
You're 100% right. And that's why, unfortunately, that record will probably never be broken until finally we come to the realization that if a player's got a shot at a record like that, I'm sorry about respecting the other team. I'm sorry about running up the score. You owe it to hockey to keep throwing that guy over the boards. Get the record. Go get the record.
No one is more qualified, more passionate about the game to be the you owe it to hockey police commissioner than Jeff Marek. Watch him daily on the sheet, and he joins us usually on
Thank you, Jeff.
Fridays. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, boys. I needed a good laugh after this week. You guys are the best. Thanks, boys.
So, Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center and the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. The real win happens after the final buzzer. Stay downtown, stay comfortable, stay close to everything right here at the Sheraton Vancouver Wall Center. Your game day home base starts at wallcenter.com. BC Lions re-sign offensive tackle Dejan Allen to a 1-year extension. Farhan Lalji reporting he went through medical testing over the past 24 hours. He's, of course, a former CFL most outstanding offensive lineman. He missed most of last year with a torn bicep, was acquired from the Toronto Argonauts, one of Ryan Rigmaiden's first moves as general manager last year. Now Jarrell Broxton, the other offensive tackle, the left side guy, the blind side protector, looms. We know that Nathan Rourke wants him back. He was vocal about that upon his extension earlier this week. And the Lions also re-signing Canadian receiver Hergy Mayala
to bolster depth at that position. It sure sounds like Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak has emerged as the leading candidate, if not the last man standing, for the Las Vegas Raiders head coaching job. This after Denver passing game coordinator Davis Webb removed himself from contention. You were asking me earlier in the week, what's going on with Arizona and Vegas? Don't we normally have all the coaching vacancies filled by Super Bowl? Well, we do, unless they have their eyes on a coach coaching in the Super Bowl. Now, Kubiak has made 6 different stops in the last 6 years in the NFL. So it's a vagabond lifestyle if you're a head coach, or if you're an assistant coach.
Coach, period, yeah.
Yeah, but head coach brings a little more security. You get like 2 years now in the NFL.
In those 2 locations where it has been so tumultuous, though, man, you're probably looking over your shoulder anyway after a year.
More Hall of Fame voters copping to excluding Bill Belichick on their ballot. Mike Chappell out of Indianapolis. I'm not going to respond to many comments, but I'll make an exception. As I mentioned in the story, and he wrote on this as well, I tend to favor a senior candidate over a coach and GM. Belichick will almost assuredly get in next year. If these senior guys don't make it, they may never get a chance. I'm not going to mention the 2 seniors I voted for. It's not a simple case of which is a better nominee, and this has 0 to do with the Patriots, he says, because, of course, the Colts-Patriots rivalry was quite hot there 20 years ago. He mentioned he also voted for Bob Kraft, the Patriots owner, and then said, as for Polian and Dungy, Tony, of course, another Colts-related Tide guy, talking against Belichick, that simply did not happen. There are facts, and then there's crap people who weren't in the room insist on putting out there, and the Hall of Fame was able to confirm to Bill Polian that he voted for Bill Belichick. Remember, he gave 2 different answers on that earlier.
I think the story is over, honestly. I don't think there's enough smoke here to be too outraged. I think it just reveals that the voting system for Canton
is flawed.
Is flawed and points people into being strategic with their votes rather than just voting.
They've complicated
with their brain
the exercise. And look, some of these voters are trying to run the narrow channel of saying, look, because I didn't vote for them doesn't mean I don't believe they're a Hall of Famer.
Right.
That timing is important.
Situation,
here.
Context.
And yet for everybody who's out there on social media saying, no, just the most deserving candidates, don't overthink or overcomplicate this. It's a fair point. I agree and accept that as well.
But that sentence is still flawed because I think so-and-so is a deserving candidate, but so-and-so's got to get in. But if I don't vote for this guy now, he's gone.
Yeah.
So strategy makes it sound a little bit more, lascivious than it actually. It just means there's an urgency for one candidate that I don't have with another one.
There's a simple fix here. Create another category.
Yes.
Players, senior players, coaches, managers, builders, whatever you want to call them.
We don't like to say that the NHL or the Hockey Hall of Fame does a lot right, but they at least do that part right, separating the players from the builders.
Ontario has the most athletes of any province on Team Canada, heading to the Milan Cortina Olympics with 58. I was a little disappointed to see British Columbia with just 33, fourth, 13 behind Alberta, although BC is up 1 athlete from 4 years ago. Here's the thing. Some of these numbers reflect residency rather than place of birth and upbringing. And as we know, Canada Olympic Park in Alberta is home to a lot of the Winter Olympic disciplines, and so you have athletes from around the country who live in Calgary.
There's probably an inconsistency of residency versus
that's
hometowns,
exactly it. So take these numbers with a grain of salt. As mentioned earlier in the week, we'll be tracking the Olympics and certainly foremost those BC athletes who will be competing.
There is one new sport, though, that we should be contributing most, if not all, of them. Have you seen mountaineering is into the Olympics now?
I did not.
So you hike up with skis on your back for a certain amount of time, You skin up. For those that don't know, that is looks like downhill skis, but you've got furry things on the bottom that you attach. You skin up on your skis another distance, and then you race down the mountain. Backcountry skiing is a big thing these days, and it's basically a riff on that.
I like it better than Nordic combined.
The other thing that they've added is women's big hill ski jumping. The women were always on the 70-meter jump only, I believe. Now they've got the 90 or the 100-meter jump. So, yeah.
If you're somewhat adverse to heights like I am, there is no more terrifying shot in sport than the over-the-shoulder of the athlete on the Olympic big hill ski jump as they're on the bar preparing.
It's pretty. I've walked up there before.
I don't know how people summon the courage to, like, how do you do that the first time? I realize you incrementally build up.
Yeah.
But holy cow.
Well, once you get the technique done, the funny thing about ski jumping is you're not high off the ground. You're just traveling a great distance. You're only about 2 meters off the ground. But because the slope is below you, you're going down with the slope. So it's really, you're kind of surfing on the air.
Aesthetically, it's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite sports to watch outside of the shot over their shoulder looking down the mountain.
Yeah. The TV, though, makes it look like they're 100 feet in the air. They're not.
The other thing about ski jumpers, many of them smoke.
Well, cardio's not a big part of it, yeah.
What makes a good ski jumper? Bird bones. Be as light and airy as possible. This is a sport that does struggle with some eating disorders, and some of the athletes smoke to suppress appetite.
Yeah, and being relaxed, too, probably doesn't hurt.
Can you imagine? You finish the Olympic ski jump. You're in the waiting area as the leader. The last competitor comes down, does not beat your distance. You win the gold medal, and you fire up a dart.
How about right in the start gate as they're getting warmed up, and it's just hanging out.
Hands it to the coach.
Shoot, forgot about
this.
Here
you go, coach.
The Olympics is so great. Like from Eddie the Eagle to the Jamaican bobsled team.
Eddie the Eagle, not a ski jumper, a ski dropper, as he was known in England.
By the way, 2 Jamaican sleds have qualified for the Olympics this year.
I saw that.
So that story continues.
But that's basically a sprinter sport on ice, and of course, there's a long and illustrious history of Jamaican sprinters.
Yeah.
There's a Canadian, our old friend Shaq Murray Lawrence, the BC Lions former running back. He is part of the Canadian bobsled Olympic team again. Was a super fast guy. He and his senior year in Ontario, his grade 12 year in Ontario, I forget, but there was like 2 other guys who were super fast and did really well in football as well.
Jesse Lumsden did it.
Of course, Jesse Lumsden did. I mean, go back in the day, you'll find a lot of football players who were connected.
Didn't Herschel Walker do it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and another epic as we get down to brass tacks of men's Grand Slam tennis. And we said yesterday the Aussie Open has been a bunch of blowouts in the second week. It needed these semifinals, 1 versus 3, 2 versus 4 to deliver, and boy, did they ever. World number 1, Carlos Alcaraz, comes back from 3-5 down in the 5th set and beats number 3, Alexander Zverev, in a thrilling 5-setter. 3 of the 5 sets have to go to a tiebreak. He reaches his first Aussie Open final. Match length, 5 hours, 28 minutes.
Look at the games played, period.
I know.
Oh, my God. 6-4 is the lowest.
I hung in for 2 sets. I saw him win the second set. I went, okay, that's it. Zverev is done. Woke up utterly astonished. The victory does not come without controversy as Alcaraz takes a medical timeout after the second set, much to the chagrin of Zverev. Alcaraz claimed he felt a pull, that it wasn't simply cramping in the heat. There were claims that Alcaraz vomited twice in his towel, but it sure didn't look like a whole lot of upchuck if he did vomit. It was more a spitty up.
But what the medical timeout rules and guidelines are pretty.
So we're
going to
get to this here.
Pretty arbitrary.
Zverev protested loudly with Alcaraz a few feet away getting treatment with the chair umpire and tournament officials. He also claims that tennis officials are favoring Sinner and Alcaraz, and Sinner got some relief earlier in this tournament when he was struggling physically, and they closed the stadium roof and had an extra break there. So he had more time to recover. Boris Becker jumped in on social media, now a fellow German, and said, no, Zverev is right. This is not right that Alcaraz and Sinner are getting these preferential rulings. And even more bizarrely in this match, at one point late, Alcaraz looked like he was approaching the net to shake hands and retire before turning towards his chair and executing the changeover. So did he really change his mind at the last second and said, no, I'm not done here? Or was it purely psychological against a combustible opponent who had lost his attitude earlier in the match?
Yeah, I think it's probably that. Now, we just showed the rules there.
So this is an Alcaraz-friendly account that has gone deep into the rule book and found the paragraph where, yes, you can take a medical timeout for cramping if the doctor or sports physiotherapist believes that a player has heat illness.
If it's related to heat illness.
Right, and that's non-negotiable, apparently. The doctor makes that call. There is no argument had.
But I like if you've got. But let's say you're playing, what would be a more fair weather, even the Canadian Open, where heat is not an issue.
So how about the French Open? Because it's late May and it's usually a little cooler.
Okay, you're at the French Open. You feel a muscle pull. That's a medical timeout. If you just yourself were cramping for no reason, though, that's not a medical timeout? Like, they're both physical problems. Why is one physical problem a problem?
Exceedingly difficult to determine which is which. Because
also,
the player just gets to say whatever. So you're going to tell the player he's lying? I mean, nobody specifically knows outside of trained medical professionals who get a chance to examine the athlete what's at play here. Is this cramping or is there actually a
But I'll tell you where it comes from most likely. I'll tell you what the genesis of that rule probably is. If you're just cramping for cramping's sake, they're saying that was on you. You're not prepared for not hydrating. Yeah. But that's not a black and white thing.
Certain people hydrate to the nth degree
and they still cramp. So, just make it black and white. If the person's they should just call it a physical timeout.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
I would just elect the rule. You get one of these.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
And for a set, fixed amount of time, right?
For his ordinary, now this match was different because it went 5 sets and was a thriller. But for as ordinary as the tennis has been, there's been no shortage of soap operas. We didn't get to this part of the Sabalenka match the other night where she gets a point deducted. Mid-point, they stopped the point because her grunt was too elongated.
It was a different grunt than her usual grunt.
Basically what happened was she did the grunt, but then she shanked it off the edge of the racket. And it was still in play.
It was still in play. The point was on.
The point was on, but she it was a semblance of, oh God. She was kind of disgusted with herself, but you're not allowed to do that. You can have no expressions.
Honestly, and I've taken this on before and gotten some heat from it, and I don't care. I'll say it again. They're just too precious in this sport.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No athlete gets catered to like the tennis star. It's a little much. I'm sorry, that grunt is acceptable, but that grunt isn't. Please.
Well, and Naomi Osaka earlier, and I'm not an Osaka fan at all, but she said come on to herself, like tried to boost herself up in between faults from her opponent.
Yeah, and her opponent objected.
And that was apparently not good either.
It's a little much.
Boy, oh boy.
Tom Mayonek, our dear friend, host of the Sport Market on, across the country, Sports Business Radio, tells a great story about when he was Director of Communications for Tennis Canada. And I won't name the athlete, but a very prominent tennis figure. Everyone would know his name. Canadian Open, they had a vehicle sponsor. They get him a courtesy vehicle, him and his agent, for the week. Okay. Tournament's over. The agent and the player drive to Pearson. They pull up. You could pull up to the airport back then. There wasn't security everywhere. Park the car, unpack their bags, leave the keys in the car, walk into the terminal.
And just walk away. Told nobody what they
and
were
so
doing.
Tom gets the call from the dealership. Where is that, whatever make and model it was? Oh, I don't know. That was with so-and-so and his agent. Had to call him up. They're already like back in Europe.
It's impounded.
Hey, what did you do with the car? Oh, we just left it, on the curbside at Pearson. Excuse me? Like, who does that? The other side, 38-year-old Novak Djokovic outlasts Sinner in 5 sets, becomes the oldest man ever to reach an Aussie Open final, this in the Open era. How about this? When Djokovic played his first Australian Open, Jannik Sinner was 3 years old and Carlos Alcaraz was 1. 21 years later, he's competing with them where it all began. And quite the final here because for many, Djokovic is the GOAT. Unequivocally, he is unquestionably the Aussie Open GOAT because he's won it 10 times and is 10-0 in the finals. He's going for 11-0 this weekend in Aussie Open finals. Now, we used to say about him, can you be the GOAT by just fattening up on the Aussie Open, which is, really the 4th of the 4 Grand Slams? But when you win 10 of them, maybe 11,
it's a lot.
Well, he's won the other ones too.
Can you make the comment that men's tennis is a little too predictable? Like it's...
Well, but it's
even
kind of been that way for a long time. I mean, I think people delighted in the big three, and you often get, different concoctions of those three in different finals, unless it was the French where Rafa was always there, or the Aussie where Novak was always there.
But Rafa and Federer have just been replaced by Alcaraz and Sinner now, and
Pretty
it's
much.
just like it's those 3 guys again.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, is Zverev going to hang on long enough that when Novak walks away, he'll be
Zverev is Phil Mickelson to Tiger. Like Zverev is not in that category.
Poll question results from yesterday. Do you feel sorry for Canucks players? Yes or no? People said
no.
Correct percentage?
70.
68. Gleason, the young ones, they get pushed out of the lineup for vets making $5 million a year who reduced less and crumple earlier. Shafeen, feel sorry for the fans. They don't get paid for this slop. Adam, nope. Some of the blame of this season has to be on them too. Different Adam, yes, because Quinn Hughes quit on their team. Okay. Errors and omissions from yesterday's program and beyond. And I knew this, and I was kicking myself almost seconds after I said it. We talked to David Piniota from State College, Pennsylvania, home of Penn State University, where the outdoor game is happening. I said at the foothills of the Pocono Mountains. It's actually the Appalachian Mountains there. The Poconos are further east. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time and connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time, weekdays. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about. Keep it local.